Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. This week's show, we're going to recap the Third Coast Grappling Kumite 5. We are going to preview Fight to Win 149, headlined by Keenan versus Gabriel Ormeda. As always on the show, I'm your host, Main, joined by my co-host,
Emil.
How you doing, Emil?
I'm doing spectacular, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, but we're here. We're doing it. We just have Third Coast this week. And we honestly don't have a ton of news either. It might be a little shorter of a show than usual.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
I mean, there was plenty of good jiu-jitsu to talk about.
Yeah, dude, Third Coast was a lot of fun. There were some really fun matches. Before we get into that, you want to talk a little news?
Let's do it.
There is not a whole lot of news this week for once. In the biggest news, BJJ Bet has announced their entire lineup for their card, and
it's stacked.
Dude.
It is really stacked.
I didn't realize you walk in and you went like, yeah, you've seen the whole lineup? I went, no, I haven't seen any of it. And you're like, look at this lineup.
Yeah,
and so
no.
it's funny that like usually I'm the one talking about it. Like it's funny to get it from you.
It's funny too because the match that most caught my eye was like way down on the card. It was Erberth versus Penna.
That's the prelim headliner.
Yeah, that's the prelim headliner, exactly. Like that's how stacked this card is that like beef match is like all the way down.
Oh shit, that's the BJJ start. I completely
dude.
Again, that's how tired I am right now. Like that's what we're operating on. I forgot that's the beef
You
match.
forgot that Erberth tried to fight the Penna brothers?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be fucking dope.
Again, that's what kind of I literally feel just now.
I think Penna's gonna fuck him up. By the way.
Dude, it depends on. Or like Erberth looked good. Was it 2 weeks ago? Last week?
Penna is still, I think, like I still think he's like
one of the best in the world. But dude, Erberth, when Erberth shows up, dude, special. When Penna shows up, he's also a world beater too.
I mean, Penna's beyond. I mean, Penna is like, Penna can actually fuck up anybody when he's on his A game. So,
I agree.
Yeah,
that's a fun matchup. So it's the prelim opener. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go down or want to go up from here?
Go down. Oh no, I mean like start at the top, go down.
So start at the top. A matchup that I am super hyped for: Cyborg versus Keenan Duarte.
Yeah, that's gonna be fucking bonkers.
They haven't fought before.
Man, you put this the best, which is like. These are both guys that we've learned not to pick against. Right. And, like, so how are we going to pick this match?
I thought about that. I went, oh, yeah. Like, my general rule after picking wrong on Cyborg so many times, like, don't pick against Cyborg in a bracket, and don't pick against Keenan Duarte in a bracket. And I went, oh, they're fighting each other.
I'm straight up at a loss right now. Like,
I'm honestly going to have to look at a bunch of footage.
Yeah, there's...
Because I'm going to have to pick about if it's going to be gi or no gi, and then we've seen Cyborg way more in no gi recently, so I'm curious if it's going to be a gi or no gi match, and then I want to look at like both of their games and see if there's any, not like opponents, but anyone that has a similar style, but both these guys kind of have their own style, so it's...
Yeah, and I mean, Kainan's is like, that his style is impossible to completely nail down because he shifts around a lot depending on like he excels at doing what he needs to do. Yeah, like which is one of the reasons why I like it is watching him is because you don't really know what you're gonna get. Cyborg is like you kind of know what Cyborg's A game is,
right? Like,
and he can implement it against anybody, right?
Mm-hmm. So that's what makes him so fun to watch is because he's gonna do. Also, another guy's gonna do what he needs to get done. But when you have both of those guys against each other, I'm curious to see like is Cyborg gonna play the really heavy upward stance game? Is he gonna play the seated game?
I see Cyborg. If I had to like.
We're doing previews in the news section this week.
Yeah, if I had to speculate.
I like what this event is like in the beginning of September 6th, I think. Yeah, September 6th, $14, a little higher price than like I would like to pay, but
it's dope, man.
We're gonna read
that first match is fucking great.
I'm still gonna pay for it. Like I'm still gonna buy it and like support it because it's a really great card. So what were you saying about Cyborg and?
I see Cyborg actually having an edge on the stand up. Like his stand-up has been tenacious. Like he can wear people down. We saw him wear Hulk down. We just have
seen very few guys like beat him in the stand-up.
Yeah.
And then like the only guy that I think repeatedly could do that was Rodriguez.
Right.
And he was like, oh, I'm going to sit down. Cool.
Yeah.
And then he negated that. He again did what he needed to do. And so like, do we think that Keenan can out-wrestle Cyborg? And I'm like,
I don't think so.
Really know if he can.
I don't think he can.
I think depending on the day he could. But would I repeatedly pick him to do so? I don't think I would.
Yeah,
I think Cyborg's going to hit you with that head in the chest blast double at one time in the match.
Right. Because Cyborg's timing is fucking immaculate. You know, like he what he does more than anyone is just like he just sees that opening and he capitalizes.
Look at him in the finals of the last Third Coast. Yeah. Like he just times it beautifully.
Not the
finals. The semifinals. Not before he guillotined Felipe Andrew, but it was the match before that.
Yeah.
Beautiful head in the chest blast double. It was just he just gets it done.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what rule set BJJ Bet is using and if it's gi or no gi for these two guys.
Yeah. So I have that stand up, and then at that point, you're
gonna have to pick against your boy, maybe.
Like Cyborg's float passing is dope, but like
we have a month to kind of like talk about this internally,
yeah,
and then come with like counterpoints. And Meals, you're gonna hit me with a spreadsheet of like, all right, I've done the math. Here are their like opponents. Well, statistically, who's gonna win?
There's no matches between them to go off of, which is what I love about this. So it'll be a surprise, I think, no matter what. But
really, really great matchup. Main card for that. Main event for that. Co-main, we have Gregor Gacy versus Zaki Bahants. Again, I'm assuming. I don't know if this is gi or no gi. Like both these guys we've seen. I mean, we haven't seen Gregor. I think Gregor, the last time we saw him was either Polaris or Quintet. I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah. I want to say it was Quintet. Yeah. I mean, he went on a tear in Quintet. And
I think that Quintet was like a year and a half or 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I think it was in this house, but I've been in this house for 2.5 years now at this point.
It's a hot minute.
And Zaki, we've seen.
Zaki, he just had an amazing finish a couple weeks ago on Fight to Win, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a super fight, so I'm pretty sure it's Fight to Win. But yeah, yeah, he looked fucking amazing. Oh, he had that absurd sequence where he followed through for fucking 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, I remember that now.
He did like.
Who was that against?
I can't remember his opponent.
Killing me now.
Because that was
I need to get more sleep.
I remember now. That's when he did the tumble into like a omoplata style.
Yeah, and he changed the grip midway through.
Yep, yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah, so I'm pumped to see that.
Next match, Sanji Habero versus Wagner Hosha.
That's gonna be fucking amazing.
Right? Sanji's back, baby.
And
Wagner's moving up in weight.
Yeah.
So I think Sanji's historically been heavier. Has Sanji been 88?
I want to say he's 88.
And then Wagner has historically been 77. So Wagner's moving up, bulking up. We saw him at Third Coast, bulked up. I'm super curious to see how this one goes. If it's no-gi, again, we just haven't seen Sanji a ton. We've seen him in the one match on Fight to Win after like 2+ years off with surgery and at ADCC. That's dope. Under that, we have Leo Vieira versus Italio Mora.
Yep.
Match. Then prelim headliner, Herber Santos versus Preguña Felipe Pena.
That's, Perguica, right?
What is it?
Perguica, I think.
I do not. I speak like. I have like 4 words in Portuguese that I can say, and they're all curse words. And so when they give me like the.
Yeah. Perguica.
Perguica. Okay. I've always called them the wrong name. Welcome to the Grappling Rewind, where we mispronounce names for 3 years at a time. Then we have Leandro Low versus Margali.
Yeah. I can't believe that's a fucking
undercard match.
That's fucking bonkers.
That's disrespectful. I love it.
Yeah. Also, taking fucking Margali on that one.
I'm curious to see. I think they fought a couple times.
Yeah.
I think Low has a win over him. This is completely out of my ass because I haven't looked at the records in a bit here to check, but that should be a really, really I think fun matchup given like the way that Margali fights and Low's pace. Like both of them kind of can run and like work in bursts.
Yeah, but
again, Margali is another guy you don't typically pick against.
Yeah, also Leandro Low, like he goes in bursts, but then he looks fucking exhausted.
Yeah, he gets tired.
They talked about the commentary talked about it in his match against Hulk, where they were like, yeah, he does this a lot. Like he just gulps in air when he's like exerting himself.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong, he motherfucker can move.
9-time Pan champion,
but
Leandro Low. 5-time world champion.
Margali just pushes that pace that looks inhuman.
Yeah. He can bury you with pace.
He's got that like fucking Cain Velasquez style like pressuring, which is terrifying.
He's just going. Oh, cool. 10 minutes in? I don't care. We're going to keep going. Next match, we have Lucas the Hulk Barbosa versus, oh, my phone died, Wander Braga.
That's third on the undercard.
And then we have a bunch of other matches underneath this as well. It's dope. Worth $15. Again, a little more for pay-per-view than we usually pay for.
Yeah, but that's high quality. You know, if that lineup stands, that it's definitely
if
worth
honestly
it.
Like 2/3 of that lineup stands, it's still worth it.
Yep.
You know, that's a really, really good card. There's a couple of those matches alone I would pay like $3 and $5 for, so it works out. Let's see. Any other news we got? I think Flow updated their pound for pound rankings.
All their rankings, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. We perused through them, some movements. I think the biggest thing was it Joao moved from 66 to 62 kilograms, and that kind of moved around the 66 kilograms a lot. I think Cade moved up, and a couple other guys moved up.
Yep.
So and then the pound for pound rankings kind of moved around, and other than that, I got nothing else for news.
Yeah.
There's a cool study on the fight site about Buchecha talking about his transition to MMA. You should take a look. I think it's on YouTube. It talks about like a lot of things he can do to, be successful in MMA. And that's it.
Yeah.
And move into the recap section?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Moving on to the recap of Third Coast Grappling Kumite 5. This was an under 170 pound bracket. They featured some bangers. Where do you want to start with this? Quarterfinals?
Yeah, let's do it. So off the bat, we have Roberto Jimenez defeating Hugo Marquez via rear naked choke.
Kind of had to do it twice.
Yeah.
I'm off the mat once, and then he was like finishing him and tapped him, and then they were like, nope, we already called it, and so they had to reset, and then the back take sequence here was nice.
Yeah, like the first one was really beautiful. Hugo's rolling like desperately, basically he went to turtle, which is like don't turtle against Roberto Jimenez.
Dude, one thing I noticed, and there's a couple matches I noticed, Jimenez, he takes your back and throws the choke at the same time. We see a lot of high-level guys do it. In Nogi, it almost looks like Jimenez a lot of times will he literally does it at the same time.
Yeah, what I've noticed is he is incredible at working his way to the back. So he'll be hanging off of you on the side, which for me, and I feel like
even most guys, they get pushed off by the mat.
Yeah, they get peeled off. He's able to climb up every time.
In the Cade match, in the Cade match. We're talking about it in a minute here, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll talk about it in that match.
Yeah, but anyway, really exceptional control and just getting to the back, getting settled. But then, when he also uses his momentum when he likes to not finish belly down. He'll roll the person, and as you said, as they're rolling, he throws in the sub.
Right.
And
he gets this. What I noticed, I forget if it was this sub. I think it was this sub. He gets it on the reset.
Yep.
They go through the sequence again. He gets the back again, but he has the hand under and basically he has the choke in. As he is getting the back control, he does a really good job of keeping his shoulders and chest in place, on the side of your lower shoulder blade, and then working it around and using. He has particularly long arms, and he has big hands that help him grip and hold those holds in order to lock himself in, get around the back, and get the choke. And I'm watching something here because we've seen him a lot. We've seen him finish from the back a lot and a lot of triangles. I'm watching something here with the sequence that he is locking up the rear naked choke that is uncommon. And so it'll probably take me a couple months to figure out exactly what I'm seeing here, but there's something here that in the way he's doing it that's uncommon, and it's working really well for him.
Another thing that he did, that Roberto did during this match that I really liked was he's comboing a knee cut pass and he was stepping into a kind of leg weave.
He sat there for a while.
Yeah, he sat there for a little bit, and it's also a position where you can also, roll and do a ninja roll from.
Right.
And then he stepped back in the knee cut pass. It was a really nice kind of back and forth that he did.
He did it in this match and in the Cade match. He did it as well.
Yep. Yeah.
So gets a rear naked choke. Really nice finish. Looked good. Roberto, I think, is the only guy in the bracket that actually gets chokes. Yeah, only guy. He has 2 rear naked chokes in the bracket. Only guy to get sub finishes.
Yep.
Again, much like Sug.
Yeah. So next up, we have Cade Rotolo defeating Vitor Oliveira via decision.
Dude, Jonathan Gracie dropped out 26 minutes after we finished recording last week. And then, literally, you were driving away.
Yeah.
And I texted you, I was like, hey, just so you know, Jonathan Gracie's out, Cade Rotolo's in. Yeah, we ordered already. It's done.
It is what it is. Yep. So that happens, jiu-jitsu, especially in the time of COVID.
That happens frequently all the time.
Yep.
With like, we'll record something and like, I chopped out new match Tuesday. It's like, oh, that's also a really compelling matchup that we didn't get to talk about.
Yep.
Like that's happened with Fight to Win Pro.
Yep.
Or with Who's Number One.
Yep.
Like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, Cade gets it done. Really close decision. I think, was this a split decision?
I can't remember.
I think it was a split. There was a couple of split decisions on the card. Really, really close match. It's nice to see more from Cade. We see kind of Ty showcased more frequently, so I was happy that we had both brothers on the card because I feel like Cade
was a replacement too. I'm trying to.
For Jonatas.
Oh, he was the one.
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry. He was the replacement for
Vitor
Jonatas.
was. Yeah. Okay.
No. For
Jonatas. That's wild. Next up, we have Hanato Canuto defeating Johnny Tama via decision.
This was fun as shit.
This was so dope.
This is the Hanato I like to see.
He hits a fucking Kiss of the Dragon, which is just like...
And he does it from like the De La Hiva, which is something that Johnny Tama plays from the bottom from that position. Like, he hits you with your own shit.
Yeah, in no-gi. Yeah.
Dude, I watched this sequence like 3 times.
So dope.
It's just such like the way that he goes from the De La Hiva to the outside single leg X, changes position, then rolls underneath, comes up, and then like
gets
controls
the body lock.
the hip.
Yep.
Dude,
this takes him down.
Probably my sequence of the weekend.
I like this one. A close second to me is just I love watching Ty do the like Anaconda pass, basically.
Yeah, that is pretty
and
cool.
He does that into mount later on.
I play this game.
Yeah.
So it's like as soon as he went to single leg X and like went to the Kiss of the Dragon, I was like, oh snap, the thing I try to do, but done versus high level guys with high level technique. So that's again, I'm biased there for like what I do.
Yep. So that's basically, Hanato takes his back and is on there for a long, long time.
Dude, I love the control that he used with. He didn't get the hooks for a good portion of that. He had that single leg. What they called it something. It's not the lock. That's a twister hook, I think. That's what they call it. Like he had that when it's single, the same leg on the same leg, and you're looped through, almost like kind of a half lockdown of the one leg. He used that a ton.
Oh, the truck.
Yeah, they called it the truck, but it's like that's not what I know the truck to be.
Yeah,
you gotta roll through. The truck is like a mirrored position where one guy is like on his back, but Canuto was attempting to get to the back. He had like the truck hook, but he didn't actually roll into what I would traditionally look at as the truck.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't both of their hips facing upwards,
right?
Which is what we're used to. But I do think that's a good description for it. It's a great leg control, and as you described it, it looks a lot like the lockdown, but from a different angle.
And I'm blanking. Dude, I need to sleep before these things.
Yeah.
It was a really cool match. This is one match, honestly, you should go back and watch. I'm a huge fan of both these guys. They kind of are both action fighters, and it's really cool to see.
Hanato was fucking gangster, man.
Dude, he just goes. And just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And I was, again, really... I like the pace that Canuto brings to all his super fight matchups and bracket matchups. And like I'm always a fan of seeing
always entertaining.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Rotolo defeating Oliver Taza 2-0 in overtime.
Dude, this got close to tacking him on points.
Dude, exceedingly close.
Because Taza is a sub-first guy. Like, he is not... I mean, I really learned him from the sub-only scene. Like, he's very, very good. But historically, like, Taza is a leg lock, leg hunter. And he's kind of less concerned positionally. And Ty was cool.
I don't think Oliver was not concerned positionally. I think Ty just, did what he does.
Not concerned positionally is best, but Oliver's game is less predicated on points and more predicated on I'm going to get to your leg.
Right.
I am way better at the leg locks than you are. I'm going to leg lock.
Ty racks up 10 points with 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
He needed one more point to get the tech.
Are we going to 11 or 12 now? Because I keep seeing 11, I keep seeing 12.
I thought it was 11.
It used to be 11, but it might be. Again, that's one thing I need to check on. I
think 11 is fine because it's not like we're seeing crazy amounts of tech falls. And if someone scores 11 points on you, in this case it's 2 passes and a fucking mount, that's pretty convincing.
On the other side, it's usually when we see guys get teched, it's honestly usually 0 or 2 points.
Yeah.
Usually one guy obviously throws the tech up. It's like, okay, cool. I mean, the technical fall. It's like, cool, you scored 12 points on the guy and they scored 2 points on you or scored 0 points on you.
So the way Ty does it is he starts doing floating passing, basically, and does a really nice little like back step to get the pass and body locks from north south.
Really impressed with his passing here. We've seen
really
we kind of spoke highly of his passing, but I feel like we're seeing him lean more into it now, and like
he's starting to get like confidence.
He's coming into his own against these high level guys and going like, oh cool, I can implement. I can
do this. Yeah.
My game, like what I do versus like previously what was the kids division. Like he's had more and more high level experience. He goes, yeah, I can do like I can pass world class guys,
right?
And I can go do. You're seeing him like have the extra level of confidence.
Yep.
And it's cool to see him like almost like open up his passing now.
Yeah. And because you know these Atos guys are they have so much in their repertoire for passing, and a lot of unique passing too, like you know the standing on the legs. In this case,
they mix up their passing.
They mix
which
it
is
up.
why I like watching those guys on top because like we see it from Hulk, we see it from like even like Keenan and like Andre. Like they're not just like knee cut passers. They're like leg wave passers, knee cut passers, outside passers, Toriando passers. Like they'll kind of combo through a huge amount of, and even in Nogi. With historically, like you only see a couple different passes.
Yep. So, you know, and then they get reset or they don't get reset, but they go back to a neutral position with Ty passing, and from standing he gets like basically kind of an anaconda grip where he's doing sort of like a whizzer from the front. And
it's like you do that extra reach for the anaconda, but you're standing still, which is like you don't see it. It's a super risky move to do.
Yep, but he was totally confident in it. He basically rolls over Oliver Taza and lands on his shoulder and like pulls his legs out and then lightning fast just inserts them into mount. It was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like
you also need some flexibility to do that too.
You need dexterity, you need balance, you need the whole fucking shebang, and he does it. He makes it look so easy. It's fucking
that was what kind of caught me is how easy. I was like, that's not real. That's unfair. Yeah. like that. Like it's a thing you can do definitely, but it's like usually you see guys kind of exert and they have to like crunch over to get them out. He just like slid there and got it. You were like,
it's
bro,
like, boom,
that is way harder than you made it look to do.
Yeah.
That was really impressive.
Really,
with that
really
too.
beautiful.
That was I still think because I'm biased, like I like the Canuto transition better, but you're right. This was a really, really cool transition. See, I can do the Canuto transition. I can't do this.
Yeah.
That's why it was less interesting. It was like,
the other thing too is like Kiss of the Dragon, A, looks dope, B, sounds dope. Like I was yelling it when I saw it, you know, like, so.
You do that too?
Oh yeah, when someone hits a Kiss of the Dragon, that's like
you yell Kiss the Dragon at the TV.
That's like dunking on somebody. Like it's just like it's a dope.
It's like
move.
at the bar when somebody hits an armbar and you yell armbar. It's like everyone knows that that's an armbar guy.
So then it goes to overtime. Ty hits the 10 points with 2 minutes, but doesn't get that last point or two to get the tech fall. So it goes to the overtime, and then Ty just hits a nice little double leg when Oliver was just postured up just a little bit too high.
All that ADCC like wrestling coming into play.
Yep.
What do you think about when you have such a lead on a guy going to overtime? Like, do you think that if you have, what do you think about the rule set here? Do you like that if you have 10 unanswered points on a guy, you could overtime and pick the position? Or do you think that after a certain amount of points, like, you can end it for a tech fall of route 11, but if you're 7 points up on a guy, like, you should just get the outright victory? What do you think about that? We rarely see it kind of be a problem. Usually the guy winning in regulation, especially unanswered, wins in overtime. But, like, what do you think about that? Because in this match, I was like, okay, clearly, like...
I think that's a good point. Like, you know, if there's a 7-point differential...
with unanswered points.
Yeah, it's like, you know, what are you hoping to get out of overtime? Like, are you hoping that the guy who just got his ass whooped, like, pulls out a win? Like, is that good?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Know, like,
it brings the margin of points. It's kind of like an odd thing where it brings the requirement for points from 11 or 12 to 2.
Yeah.
It is a little weird in my head because, like, we've seen a couple matches now at Third Coast where this happens.
Yeah.
Where it's...
if Ty didn't win here, I don't think Oliver would have felt good about it, you know, like...
I don't know. There's something I think that Ryan, we'll talk about at the end here, promoter for Third Coast, talked about making some changes to Third Coast, and this is one of the things I'm kind of like, I just wanted to have a discussion about it with you to see what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
So that's all I got. That was the quarterfinals. Now moving on to the semifinals.
Roberto Jimenez defeats Cade Rotolo via rear naked choke.
This is where he hits that lightning fast, just like... Actually, no, he grinds this choke out a little bit. He gets under, and then he grinds the back mount out, and he's... The sequence that Jimenez gets Cade's back here...
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Crazy. Like, he is not on the back for 20 seconds of this, if not like longer. I think almost like 30 or 40 seconds. He is like completely square. His head is like in Cade's armpit, basically. Not in a headlock, but like low.
It was a little bit of a headlock at one point.
And
it was just a headlock from behind.
Position. He holds the body lock like with one hand for a huge amount of time, and is just able to get the back.
Yeah, this is amazing tenacity by Roberto Jimenez. Basically, Roberto started in a leg weave pass, and Cade tried to basically attempt a saddle. And Roberto...
And we almost tried that, like the knee... I call it a knee splitter, where you try to blow their knee out from that, like the leg weave position.
Yeah.
You lock your leg in. I've actually done this to someone, accidentally blew their knee out. I mean, it was on purpose accidentally, but like my defense, I asked like, hey, are you okay here? And he went, yeah. And then we moved, and his leg went pop, just like really quietly. And then apparently he needed knee surgery after.
That sucks.
Well, he said he was good.
I know.
He was an upper belt, and I was a blue
you're
belt.
right. Yep.
So I respect that position like way more than I probably should now after.
Are you talking about just like flaring the leg out in order to pull it into saddle? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about...
You have to show me at some point then.
Where Cade was here, where Roberto kind of shoots his front leg in like he's going to go for a knee cut. You thread your arm in and almost lock it in place with your leg over your arm.
So it looks kind of like a calf slicer?
Kind of like a calf slicer, but with your forearm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I blew guy's knee out with that. Yeah. And you see Cade do that to here to stave the pass and potentially try to invert and get to the saddle here, because when you have your arm in that position, it stops them from being able to pass effectively, because in essence, you lock their leg into place between your thigh and your other leg.
Got it.
And you see Cade go there and try to get into a leg lock from there, but Jimenez is able to get out of it and is able to pass into the back.
So Jimenez basically at this point they're in a weird position that is like Roberto was almost like perpendicular to Cade. It was kind of on his back.
It was a position that you don't see guys get the back from.
Right. And
it's really what I was like, guys.
Basically, Roberto has the seatbelt grip of death. Like, he was just...
It didn't even look like... Sorry. It looked like he had a crazy good seatbelt grip, but then you looked at the grips that he had here, I was like, yo, how is he keeping his chest so tight to the back of Cade's shoulder here?
It's amazing. So, Roberto's able to get to the back and, finagle his way there.
I partially think this is because he cut so much weight. Like, he was, I think, absurdly strong for 170. I think he cut like 20 pounds to make 170.
Yeah.
So it's like that was here where it's like, dude, you're just that strong right now.
Yeah. And, he does Roberto does an amazing job on the back, gets the body lock, then traps Cade's arm in the body lock, which I don't see too frequently.
You saw the DDS guys doing it for a while. Like that was kind of like their go-to.
They would trap it,
really
but like
about it.
they'll trap it, but like the way they do it is they'll actually tuck the leg behind the back.
Yeah.
This was just like, I have your leg now, cool. All right, now I'm locking a triangle over it.
He did it in the body triangle, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
That is really, you don't see that a ton.
Yeah.
I feel we've seen Gordon do that, but like situationally, like Jimenez looked like he also locked the body triangle really, really fast.
It looked uncomfortable.
Once he got to the position, like he turned and like he already had his hips in motion there to where he'd get the body triangle.
Yeah,
which again, the speed there was pretty crazy.
Brutal. Like there was zero chance of Cade's arm getting freed with that.
It was a super tight body triangle.
It's done. Like it looked insane. And Roberto's able to get the tap for the win there. Next up, we have Tyra Tolo defeating Hanato Canuto via decision.
Another fun match.
Yeah.
Where it was Canuto. But again, both guys are like going for the gold, going for the win. I think this was a split decision as well. This one was a little controversial is not the right word. This could have gone either way, depending on what criteria you're looking at and how you want to score it. There was basically the biggest moment in the match was, I think, a takedown from Rotolo in regulation, and then there was activity and scrambling in overtime that just, I think, edges out. It was definitely some back and forth in the match, but this was a really difficult one to pick, which is why it was a split decision.
Yep. Yeah. It was
fun.
It was fun. Both of these guys, I'm loving seeing Tyra Tolo kind of like continue to grow as a grappler. He's so fucking entertaining to watch.
Again, the confidence. The confidence on Canuto was no joke. And that dude will punish you for mistakes. And Rotolo was just like, cool. And I think it's almost, this match reminds me of the Dante Leon match that we saw at GrappleFest with Ty. I think we've seen growth even since then from Ty. I think he went in a little more tentative in that match. We saw him kind of like a little more on the outside. His passing wasn't, as strong. This match, he was in it with Canuto the entire time.
Yep. Finals match, Roberto Jimenez defeats Tyra Tolo via contest.
Via the most controversial shit this week in grappling. So we talked at length, in text before the show about this. I'm not gonna die on the hill. There is a strong argument on both sides.
There is.
That this was.
What I will grant is that in the rule set, in IBJJF rules, it makes sense that there was not control established.
So let's talk about the finishing sequence here. So we're in overtime, right? Overtime.
Yep.
Yeah, overtime. The beginning of the match, I was honestly what I was most impressed about was Roberto wasn't able to take Ty over with that closed guard double ankle sweep.
And he was going a lot. Even in regulation,
we have not seen many guys be able to stand up and that's actually stand up how Ty stands up there. He was just straight up, looking to throw the hips forward, passing.
Well, actually, in the first match, in Roberto's first match, Hugo Marquez does stand up a couple times.
He does, but Ty is forward.
Yeah.
In the stand, Hugo was a little more
I think guys are starting to realize that's the move. It's probably better to risk being swept.
So how I do it, because this is something that I've done, in quotes here, wrong for years, is I will do what Ty does. Again, I have weird good balance though. So it kind of, you need that for this to work. I get right up on the guy like Ty does, and then even if you do kind of mess up and get taken over, because of where you are, you get to land first, and you get to start coming back up before the other person can come up on the sweep. And so it gives you a reset time, and if you're super fast like Ty is, you can play with that fire there and not get taken over all the way. Now, if the guy has a really big bite on your feet and you can't free one of your feet, you're screwed and you're going to get taken over. But this thing, I've seen this work a lot. And I think guys are starting to figure out the leverage points in the ankle to stop that.
I think specifically against Jimenez, it's a lot better to do that than to try to squash past him,
because he's so long.
He's long, and he's eventually going to swim under.
Or he's the only person
who he could not get a body lock against was Nicky Rodriguez. That's it. Everyone else, he got the body lock.
Get a body lock?
He did, and then Nicky was just like,
oh yeah, he was like, nah.
Yeah,
I didn't want any of that. Okay, yeah, I was I thought he did get a body lock on Rodriguez.
Yeah, it didn't effectively work, I think. So anyway, I'm starting to notice people are starting to stand in Roberto's closed guard more as a favorable way of passing, which makes sense to me. But anyway, yeah, Ty looked great. And so in overtime,
were there any points scored in this one? Was it 0-0?
I think it was 0-0.
I think it was 0-0. A couple matches went to 0-0 overtime.
And then goes to overtime, and they're standing at one point. Roberto just shoots a double, which he's been doing.
A jiu-jitsu double.
Yeah, it's a jiu-jitsu double. We saw him do it earlier in this promotion. We've seen him do it a bunch.
Knocked over a camera pole or something like that. And I think it was the Hugo Marquez match. They were all over the mat.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it after. Third Coast is making bigger mats, which I'm happy about.
So Ty snatches up a guillotine as he's being taken down,
which is what you do in pretty much all promotions, because the rule is in both ADCC and in
IBJJF that essentially you cannot establish control when someone is attempting a submission against
so you have to clear the submission, and then once you
and then the clock
submission,
starts,
and then the clock starts. So,
which that I get that that's the rule, and according to that
like,
rule,
I get the rule, but I disagree.
According to that rule, I think definitely Roberto Jimenez did not maintain control.
So what happens is
I think it's a dumb rule. I think it's a fucking stupid
that's a rule.
rule.
I don't agree with the rule. I mean,
it's a dumb rule. It's if here's the thing, if the submission is legit, you will finish it. That shouldn't have any bearing on whether or not.
Okay, you've kind of turned me around. I do like your take.
It shouldn't have.
If you get the submission and you have it, you finish the guy.
Here's what
now you're on the ground. I have it for 15 seconds.
A better rule would be.
And I'm just holding the guillotine, but I don't have it.
A better rule would be you don't award the points while the submission is being attempted.
And that's the rule.
Right.
That's how the rule stands.
But no. Now people are making it sound like, oh, well, the clock doesn't start until the submission ends.
Yeah. This clock doesn't start for control.
I'm saying fucking start. The clock starts immediately on the takedown, and then if the person
I agree. Yeah, it counts as a
like let's say someone has a shitty fucking guillotine for like 8 seconds, like really egregious amount of time.
Yeah.
And it's just not going anywhere. Then
that should count as control time, as what you're saying, on the ground.
Yeah.
So I go to take you down, you guillotine me,
Yeah.
we're on the ground for 15 seconds, I then pop my head out of the guillotine. You're saying like, okay, that counted as a takedown.
That's a takedown.
You don't have to now scramble for 3 additional seconds and then control again.
Yep.
Like, you already took me down.
Correct.
Anything I do after the fact is different.
Correct.
So
And-
how the rule stands now
so-
is the time doesn't start until you clear the submission.
right, and here
So-
and this particular submission, I think, to me, like, when I saw people complaining about it, I thought I was going to see something really egregious, and I saw it, and what I saw was like Cade's elbows way down by his, like, past his lower rib. Oh, sorry, Ty's.
He fought both Rotolos this weekend.
Right.
It's confusing.
Both of his elbows way down past his wrist, like basically as far down.
It wasn't an finishable position.
It was not a finishable
It's
position.
a guillotine, and you can adjust that guillotine
Yes.
to make it work.
Yeah.
But in the position that he has it in,
Right.
where Jimenez is able to escape out of, it's not a finishable guillotine.
Right.
So what happens is he escapes the guillotine, and then Ty does exactly what you should do with how the rules are worded. He hustles that ass up
Yep.
and gets up maybe 3 seconds, maybe not. But Jimenez never effectively controlled the position on the ground after escaping the choke.
Right.
The refs go, okay, it's been 3 seconds. It's a close 3 seconds, but he got him down. Awards the points. Jimenez gets the victory. 10 grand. Good for Jimenez. But then in looking back at it, you go, oh, actually, because of how the rules are written, technically, that should not have counted as a takedown, because
Right.
the rules dictate that you have to control on the ground for 3 seconds after clearing the sub.
Right.
And again, I read through the IBJJF rules a couple months ago, and this is something that they address. Again, I really hope I'm getting this right and have not remembered this all incorrectly.
That's what people have been saying anyway. I haven't checked the rules, but
Yeah, I need to reread the rules again, because I've never really finished that project. Because I'm also a super huge fan of rules, and so I think I actually really do genuinely enjoy all of these kind of particular use cases of this is why the work has to be written and worded this way for when you get situations like this.
And from a technique standpoint, I looked it up because I was like, man, maybe I'm being subjective here, but that doesn't look like a very finishable guillotine to me. So I looked it up, and Danaher has a video on YouTube. You can Google it. It's the High Elbow Guillotine by John Danaher, and in it he explains that if you're guillotining someone and your opponent can get their shoulder to your chest from that seated guard position, you can't finish it.
Well, you can.
Well, you have to adjust.
It's just extremely hard. You can't do it
what
from
he
there
says
with
is
that grip.
get your wrist in between, do the high elbow thing, get the finish that way. But when I saw it, I was like, that doesn't look
right. But it is what you're supposed to be doing there. You get taken out. He gets your hips. You snag the neck.
Right.
And then when he pops, you pop up and try to Heisman and push off of him and get up. That's what he does.
Yep.
But it was called early, and so we have a no contest in the finals that on the day Jimenez wins the tournament. I'll watch the match again.
Yeah.
Like, both these guys are young, up-and-comers again.
Yep.
Roberto, now world-ranked new black belt. Ty, Rotolo, are they purple in quotes here? I think they just got purple.
I think they just got purple.
I mean, we have purple and we're waiting for black is really what it is for like the nogi, for like these guys in nogi. You're contending with top nogi guys in the world. Like you beat Canuto, who's like a world-class level dude via split decision. Like Wagner, Hosha, like ADCC, Paulo Miao, like pick and choose. You're world class.
So the reason why, also broadly speaking, why I'm not salty about this is, again, Roberto, his previous 2 matches got submissions, got the only.
Yeah.
So it's like.
So if you're gonna have a close match in the finals, it's like I'm not sure, give or take. But it's like, well, Roberto finished his first 2 guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna apply some caveat here that didn't matter at all, but
It didn't matter, but like I'm just saying from like I'm not salty about this, like I was because I saw the reactions to it before I watched the matches.
Dude,
and
I fell asleep. I had it on in bed. It was like 1 a.m. and I was like, I'll watch it tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I'll catch the replay.
Yeah.
I watched the Pedro Mourinho match and I was just fading hard.
Yep.
And I caught it on the replay and I saw I woke up. I didn't look at social media. I watched it as first thing I woke up, so I didn't have it spoiled for me. And then I went to social media and was like, "Oh, should be popping this morning."
So we'll get to the super fight results, but do you want to? It seems like a good time to talk about some of the changes that Third Coast was talking about.
So Ryan Mcguire, president of Third Coast, does all the matchmaking, does a lot of the promotion, runs Third Coast Grappling. Talked about he was kind of unhappy. He was really unhappy with how the event ran.
The reffing specifically, yeah.
He said like he wasn't as much of a problem with the reffing. He talked about like just in general. I think there were audio issues on the broadcast. There were some other issues. There was not inconsistencies in the reffing, but it was like they need to
get on the same page. Yeah.
Everyone needs to get, there were a lot of split decisions on this card, which. A lot of matches were super, super close, so I understand, but there were a lot of split decisions. He also said, this morning, they're selling the mats that they have because they're getting bigger mats. So they right now have 26 by 26, which is 676 square feet of mat space. They are going to 30 by 30, which is 900 square feet of mat space. It's a 33%, 1/3 increase in mat size that I think is very warranted. We've been talking about since they've been running the Kumite events, the mats were a little small. This event, I mean, we've seen this all over the place.
Like, and it's not just Third Coast. Like ADCC had the same problem.
Yeah, that's why they're adding the border, like the 8-foot, I think, safety mats. This next ADCC, it's like guys at the high level move around. And
they move around, and
you have to play the border.
You have a border, and past that border, you need enough space for them to fall, where they're not like Penna, like getting his ribs slammed into a fucking desk.
Or even in this match where he had Jimenez like hitting a camera pole or something like that. It's like these guys, in the rules, with the way the rules in jiu-jitsu work, it behooves you to play the border of the mat. Yeah. Because if you're getting taken down, you make a little bit of turn.
It's a psychological thing too.
You're getting submitted. You make a turn. You're off the mat. You get a reset. Like, it behooves you, especially if you're playing defensively, to be on the edge of the mat. And so we need bigger mats, and especially for the guys that are at the high level like this, to push them back in the center, give them a little bit more space to work. I mean, a third more space to work is a really good way to adjust that problem.
It's, I guess, like 3 feet on either side, so that's pretty good.
I only did the square footage math. I didn't do any of the other math.
Yeah.
But it's 33, it's a third bigger. Like,
by area, the guys, but like, linearly, it's 3 feet on each side.
I'm going to defer to your expertise on mathematics here.
Yeah,
I agree. Okay. So I'm happy that it's bigger. I think Ryan's gonna make some other changes as well, like the Third Coast. And again, through Third Coast's history, they've historically made a lot of good changes for the better. I mean, look at the first time when they ran overtimes, how they did it versus how they run overtimes now. It's way better. Like, they're consistently improving, consistently paying out guys, consistently putting on good matches. This event had some problems here and there, but like, it was still a really fun event. It's still definitely a watchable event. There's still matches you should go back and watch. So I'm happy that they're making changes.
Yep.
Super fights.
We have Ricardo Evangelista defeating Hanato Tagliari via golden score overtime.
It was a sweep.
Felipe Andro defeats Max Jimenez via golden score in overtime.
Dude, Jimenez was looking for the fireman carry, but with the gi, he had that front grip, was going for the gi. There was a lot of pieces on the feet for this match.
Yeah.
That was the match.
It does end in a sweet Tomoe Nage, though.
It was the dopest piece of that. It was awesome. But Andrew gets underneath, flips. Jimenez is, by the way, a giant dude.
Yeah.
I did an interview with him then at Ground Control in Colombia before ADCC, like I think a couple days after he was announced or something like that. And crazy big dude. So to Tomonagi him, super impressive. And the sequence is honestly
it's really
cool.
nice because Felipe starts off using his insteps and then in midair switches, like kicks out, gets his heels in, and uses those to take Max over. Really, really nice work by Felipe Andrew. Pedro Mourinho defeats Andre Porforio via decision. Always
love seeing Pedro Mourinho out there. Close match. I was fade during this match. It's always fun to see Pedro.
Yeah.
Anything else on this one?
That's it.
A lot of fun. Definitely go back and rewatch the both Jimenez matches, or all three Jimenez matches, honestly. Go back and watch Canuto versus Tama, and go back and watch Ty versus Canuto. Those are all matches that were super fun and definitely worth, the couple minutes to sit down and watch them. Preview section?
Let's do it.
We got, again, super quick this week. Fight to Win 149 taking place in Dallas, Texas on August 14th. We have 3 matches right now that are announced for this card. Back in action after a couple weeks, we have Keenan Cornelius versus Gabriel Ormeda.
Awesome to see Keenan active in Fight to Win. I do think that it's a rule set where we will get to see Keenan kind of branch out more.
I feel like we're going to see him open up, and he doesn't have to play for the points anymore. He can now start doing a lot of the sub game that I think really made him famous.
Yeah. And also he's an innovator. And so I think in this rule set, he'll be able to test more stuff out.
He'll be able to play, not play around is the right word, because
I think honestly, he doesn't, when he talks about it,
stuff in a competitive setting.
Yeah. I mean, he's talked about it before. Where he kind of realizes he has eureka moments where he's like, oh yeah, this right here. So I'm curious to see him play around more. I love it because it's just more time that I get to kind of see this lapel game a little bit because I really haven't studied it.
Ooh, and also you get to see the guy. Keenan frequently talks about everyone's doing it wrong. Most guys are doing it wrong. They're doing this wrong. These instructionals are incorrect on how to do it. So I'm really always love watching new Keenan footage because he is the guy on the cutting edge of in quotes here, that lapel shit.
Yep.
And you always see him okay, this is what he should be doing here. He's not ever making a grip switch that's not intentional. He's not ever going to a place that he doesn't really have a reason to go to. He has an entire systemized thing. I think Josh from Grappling Rewind has the lapel encyclopedia still. And he's talked about he has a whole system for why and how and where he goes with it also. Again, I'm more excited to see Keenan footage and see him in super fights where he can really just throw all the chips on the table for the fight and, have a nice showcase. He doesn't have to go 14 matches.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to favor Keenan here, but Gabriel's a tough matchup. We've seen Gabriel before on Fight to Win. He just fought Sanji a little bit ago, lost via armbar. He has a referee decision over Jimenez on Fight to Win as well. And he also has a win over Jake Watson at No-Gi Worlds. I assume this is going to be a gi matchup. I haven't seen the graphic for this yet.
Yeah, I have Keenan taking this one. So.
Yeah, I do too. Again, it could be close though, because Gabriel is no slouch. Next matchup, we have Jenna Bishop versus Luisa Montero. It's a gi featherweight title bout. I think we just saw Luisa versus Elizabeth Clay. That was a no-gi match, and we saw Elizabeth take that via heel hook. But I think Montero, I feel like she has had the title in Fight to Win before. I think Jenna has it currently.
I cannot remember.
No, I think Montero has it. I thought she took it over Baby Vieira. It's who she took it over. This should be a ton of fun. Next match, we have Lucas Pinheiro versus Juni Ocasio for the bantamweight no-gi title.
That's going to be dope.
Yeah, I rode with Lucas at Moyer Gym in Dallas when we were covering Kasai. Went to an open mat that morning and did a great round with him. That he beat my ass very, very nicely. And I realized, I was in the round, I was like, who is this guy? I recognize this guy. And I was like, hey, how you doing? And after I was like, hey, I'm Lucas. I was like, are you Lucas Pinheiro? He goes, yeah. I was like, cool, that makes much more sense now. He just casually beat my ass for like a 10-minute round. So this is a really fun matchup. We've just seen Junie. We saw him beat, I think last weekend, Gabe Tuttle. The guy that fought Kyle Terra like a couple weeks before that. And we were talking about wanting to see Junie in like a title fight. I think Lucas still has the bantamweight title. If not, I know he has had it before. But super active, Atos black belt.
Yeah.
You know, and Junie is a newer Unity black belt, but we see him, you know, implementing a lot of the Eddie Cummings stuff. He's sort of like the next guy doing a lot of like the Z. I think he's the only guy we've ever seen in competition hit the Z-Lock twice. So I'm very, very curious.
I mean,
to see how
he
he fares
against Greg Tuttle,
Panera.
he did like an arm triangle, right?
He didn't finish it.
Yeah.
But that was
I think
the
30
biggest piece of the
seconds and he
match.
would have finished. Yeah. Yep. So
I'm excited for this one. We've not covered Panera here in a minute, but we've covered Junie a lot recently. So it's a really, really good no-gi bout. For some reason, I feel like Panera is going to sit, and we're going to see Acasio's passing game. So I'm interested to see how Panera's leg lock defense is, because I'm assuming that's where Junie's going to take it, especially in the fight to win format.
yeah, we'll see. Junie has shown that he is like surprisingly versatile. So
Yeah.
you know, I think he can.
And the passing, I mean, the Tuttle match, like his passing just looked.
It was
dude, that tech up sweep he hit on that in the Tuttle match was like textbook.
Yeah.
Beautiful, like transition with the feet, come up, just turn it back over,
Yep.
get on top.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this one. That's it.
Yeah.
We don't have a whole lot else. What's your week look like?
I started doing yoga again, feeling pretty good.
Nice. How's your back?
Good, man. I feel like I have identified the motions that like causes it to freak out.
For those who don't know, Emil has also a herniated disc in his back.
Yeah, I'm blaming you, Maine.
Yeah, you
This
caught it from
somehow.
me. You spend enough time around me. It's like, yeah, what happened? It's like, oh, I'm sorry. You got to spend too much time around me. You also get a herniated disc in your back. Same place as my disc as well.
Yep. Yeah. So, but yeah, all things considered, pretty good. You know, considering like I for the most part forget that I have a herniated disc, which is a great place to be.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
wish I had that problem.
Yeah.
Sweet. Anything else like fun going on this week?
That's it, man.
D&D.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. That's big. That's right. Grappling Rewind. Found out when we had Zach here a couple weeks ago. He's like looking over at my computer,
Screen peeping.
and he's like, "Hey man, do you play Dungeons and Dragons?" And I was like, "Man, that is a bizarre first question to ask, but yes, I do." He saw like a playlist that I had for one of my campaigns, and so it turns out Zach has been dying to play D&D for a long time. So we're gonna run a little Grappling Rewind session.
Super excited.
Yeah.
Zach's wife, Rachel, me,
Yep.
you as DM. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm excited as shit for it.
Yep.
So that's in a couple of days. We're not gonna like broadcast any of that, but that's just like stuff that we're doing when there's, you know, not a ton of grappling to like fill my entire
we'll do
week with.
fantasy grappling.
Yeah,
so.
because we're all not like, none of us are training. We're
Yeah.
all just like being responsible in Baltimore here. So yeah.
Yep.
I'm super excited for that. I don't think I have anything else. I'm
That's
just
it,
like
man.
running.
Yeah.
Running a lot. I'm like extending all my distances this month.
Okay.
To try to bring like more suffering into my life.
Yeah. Why not
apparently.
optimize the suffering?
Yeah, I'm trying to make like the average run this month like 3 or 3.5 miles, which I want to get back into grappling. I miss like other people trying to fight me and not like me fighting myself constantly. It's not so great. So yeah, that's my week.
Sweet.
All right, so that does it. As always in the show, I'm your host Maine, with my co-host.
Emil.
And we got the Grappling Rewind. See you on the mat, whatever that is. Stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google Plus.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.